Hey everybody, how's it going? Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be going over a really important topic and field to understand when you are investing in silver bullion and precious metals, and that is government issued bullion. And today I partnered with sdbullion.com, and we'll get into the details of that partnership a little bit, but we have a ton of the different major coins in this box that they sent me to unbox and show off to you guys in terms of the major government issued bullion coins. So it'll be really cool. I'll be able to supplement the presentation with actual unboxings, and I'll show you while I talk over it the actual coins, how they look in real life, and they're all the new 2020 coins. But this is both going to be a history lesson and an investing lesson. We're going to be covering the pros and the cons of investing in government issued bullion, sovereign bullion, as opposed to something like silver rounds or junk silver circulating 90% US silver. So we're going to be covering all the bases in terms of that part of it. We'll also be talking about each of these designs and how they've evolved over the years. Each of these coins has some collectability. It's not just like a throwaway random 1 ounce silver where the only thing you're getting is the silver. Each of these, maybe it's a cool collector design, limited issue. There's a wide variety of them, and we're going to be covering all of those as well. So I'm excited to get into the chunk of the video, and we'll start with the pros and cons. I want to explain what's going on with the sponsorship just for a little moment. They're not paying me to create this video, but I really do like sdbullion.com. And what we did is we set up a link where if you go to sdbullion.com using my link and purchase silver there, which is where I'd recommend to purchase silver from. I wouldn't be partnering with them if I didn't think that they were really good. They're a very low cost solution to reliable silver. When you do that, I'll get a significant, after you purchase using my link, significant amount of money that I'll be reinvesting 100% into my channel. So it'll be used directly to make new videos, whether that's purchasing equipment or purchasing materials to search. All that money is going to be recycled into the company, so I really appreciate your support there. Now, let's get to the pros and cons. So in terms of the pros, there's about 3.5 that I want to go over. The first is that there's a ton of brand name recognition. So these are coins like American Silver Eagles, Canadian Maple Leafs, South African Silver Krugerrands, Austrian Philharmonics. These are just coins that people know about. It's a common name in the silver industry, and that is something that you really want to consider. Additionally, the quality is going to be really high and associated with those brands, as is the actual art and physical appearance of these coins. These are really good looking coins, and we're going to get to take a look at that momentarily when we unbox these coins. In a regular non-sovereign mint, they can just stamp a ton of coins, 1 ounce, 1 ounce, 1 ounce, but they're not taking into consideration really good looking coins. They're kind of just putting out that silver in 1 ounce quantities, whereas these are pieces of art on their own. And the thing is, pro number 3, that when you go back to sell them, there's a lot of demand for these coins. There's demand for silver in general, but with these specific coins, they're so well known that people are more likely to want to buy them than just some unauthenticated coin that people don't know about. These coins are, there can obviously be fakes, but there's a much better guarantee with these coins that it's good quality silver as opposed to ones that don't have a government backing the reputation. The last pro that I want to talk about is kind of more of not that serious one, but if you're looking to buy gifts with silver, gift like a 1 ounce coin to somebody with silver and maybe get them into investing if you're gifting it to a kid or something, these coins are probably going to be, again, more memorable. They look better, they make better gifts when they're backed by a government. I know I got one as a child, only one, but I was really excited about it, and I remember it and still have it to this day. So in terms of the mediums, there are 2 of them. They're not quite cons, but the first one has to do with the fact that these are expensive coins. So why is that not a con? Well, it'll end up being one of my cons later, but I want to view it from a different perspective first. So the thing is, you're paying more when you purchase these coins, but when you go to sell them, you might be actually doing better than if you were to sell other types of silver. I know from the coin shops that I've seen transactions at, this is probably the best way to buy and sell in terms of recouping the margins, because it's such a quantifiable source that people will pay up for it. It's not just you paying big in the beginning and then you evaporate all of that extra premium as time goes on. Compared with something like junk silver, constitutional silver, or even generic bullion. I'd say the junk silver does the worst, and then the generic bullion can be pretty comparable, but probably not quite as good as this. However, that's not to say that that will always hold. That's just my experience. So it's kind of, when you see the higher prices, it can be obviously a turnoff, but there's more than just the purchase price to consider. The second one is really a medium because I hope that it never applies, but a lot of these, not all of them, a lot of them have some type of face value on it. So Canada puts a $5 face value, United States puts a $1 face value, Philharmonics put a 1.5 euro face value. So they have purchasing power if you really, really come to a situation where you don't care about the silver, you want to trade it. Either silver has fallen a ton, or I don't know, please don't do this, but you need to just buy something. They have face values on them, so that's just something to consider. Again, not something we really want to be considering, but it's there, and I should talk about it. There are two cons. So the first is the angle with the higher premiums. Objectively, when you buy these coins, you're not going to get as much silver. But from a money perspective, you might be able to do better in the long run when you resell. But again, you're just not getting as much silver. That's something that has to be said. It's probably not going to be super significant, but it'll be slightly significant. So if you're just going solely for the number of ounces of silver in your collection, there could be better avenues. But again, this isn't even I just thought of this on the spot with the pros. 1 ounce silver is a really good way to stay liquid. If you get into the really low premium, sometimes you need to buy bigger than 1 ounce. So 1 ounce of government issued bullion is probably a good way in terms of being able to sell some quantities and hold on to others. There's just a lot of good things with these 1 ounce coins. The last one is, and this has to do especially with the Chinese pandas. There's a ton of counterfeits on those. That's why it's really important to buy from a reputable dealer. Again, I'm talking about, I like SD Bullion, which I have the link below. I don't want to push that too much, but these companies that are very established and have a reputation behind them, it's important to buy from them. That's what I prefer, as opposed to buying from other people who might be selling you counterfeits. There's a ton of quality assurance that goes into the reputation of these big companies. Now let's check out a lot of the coins. I've got the package still right here, and I'm going to go in the history. This is something that's pretty cool to see, not just what does the coin look like, but how has it evolved over the years, what's in the future for them, what type of mintages are going on. So let's check that out. So in terms of the way that I'm going to be doing this unboxing, I'm going to take the package from SD Bullion, open it up, and then I'll briefly show all of the coins, and then I'll go up close to each of them. I'll hold them in front of the camera, and you can check out the design, and then I'll talk about the history, what's symbolized, because honestly, I've talked a lot about these coins, I've heard a lot about these coins, but I haven't seen all of them up close and personal, so it's going to be great for me and for you guys as viewers to learn a ton of them with them in front of us. So again, thanks a bunch to SD Bullion for making this possible. We're going to just cut this open, and I started cutting it open, realized I needed to redo the intro, so I'm going to cut it open and then show off the coins. Okay, so here are the coins, and I had a chance to examine them individually, and boy, are they gorgeous. And we're just going to start from the top, basically. This one is the American Silver Eagle. All these coins are from the year 2020, so it's really cool to see the new dates and aspects of them. But this one is the American Silver Eagle. As I said, these ones started in 1986 and were produced through 1996 at the San Francisco Mint, but they didn't have any mint marks. Today, they're made at Philadelphia, San Francisco, and West Point in a variety of finishes. Just so you know, that's not a milk spot or anything. That's just some condensation from my hand. But this 2020 coin is going to be the last year of the design, and that's likely because they're going to be increasing their counterfeiting measures. We're going to be able to see some of the really awesome types of measures that other countries have taken to protect their coins from being made, not at the actual mint. But the 35th anniversary of the coin is in 2021, again, started in 1986, so that's why they're going to be changing the design, and it's also going to just kind of switch it up and bring a little bit of refreshment. A lot of the other coins here change on a pretty regular basis. Not all of them, but a fair amount of them. One thing to note is that the American Silver Eagle generally carries some of the highest premiums out of these. Not all of them. There's a few here that have kind of restricted mintages, but this is kind of the gold standard, except it's silver, so you can't really use that term. The next coin I want to talk about is kind of the counterpart. The two main coins I'd say are the Canadian Maple Leaf and the American Silver Eagle. This is really, really gorgeous though, and there's a ton of detail. These ones started in 1988, and the design has since changed because they've got a lot of anti-counterfeiting measures. If you look at the kind of ridged design as well as the different surfaces, it's a gorgeous coin, and it looks even better in person. The intricacy of the maple leaf, that's what it got its name from. It also has this small anti-counterfeiting stamp there, and it's got a relatively high face value. This one is $5 Canadian. I believe that's probably somewhere, I haven't checked the exchange rate, but around 3 to 3.5 US dollars. So it's a little higher than most of these other coins here. The specific name for these lines is called the radial line finish, and it has surface protection, which is supposed to reduce white spot or milk spot discoloration, which is not featured on most of these coins. So they've got a lot of interesting tech behind their bullion, and again, it's one of the oldest coins to enter the market here. It's not a newer creation. So that's the Canadian one. Really, really cool coin. Next up, we have the Australian Kangaroo from 2020. These are really interesting. They're evocative of the Canadian Maple Leaf, but they're produced by Australia at the Perth Mint, and it's their only line in terms of the silver products that keep the same design every year. And it's got a lot of anti-counterfeiting stuff in place with the different finishes, with the different surface types. And in this case, on the back, it's the kangaroo because obviously the kangaroo is iconic to Australia, and they have kangaroo surrounded by a bunch of sunlight as the design on the back. This one is just their signature coin, but we also have a ton of different products that are a little bit more limited and popular with collectors, where it's almost a hybrid between a bullion coin and a slightly more expensive, higher premium collector bullion coin. We're going to get into those next. The first of those, and the front looks normal, but we're going to check out the back quickly, is the 2020 Australian Lunar Series 3 Year of the Mouse. So there's the Lunar Series, they go for 12 years, and it's according to, I think it's just like the Chinese years of, Year of the Mouse, Year of the Dragon, that sort of thing. I think I was born Year of the Dragon 2000 is what most people call that year, but it's got a great design. I mean, check that out. It's the different surface types. It's like a reverse proof, and it's a frosted finish. Really gorgeous. That P Mint mark stands for Perth, and they've only made 300,000 of these, so it's a higher premium. But again, if you look back, some of the value has really gone up over the years, not related to the silver content. And this is the third time that a Year of the Mouse coin is being produced. So they started, Lunar Series 1 was 1996, Lunar Series 2, 2008, 12 years later, 2020, we get the Year of the Mouse. And yeah, just a really, really good looking coin. We're going to get to some of the other unique designs. This one is the Australian Krugerrand. So this one is one that I've heard about a lot. Again, all of these are going to be keeping that same $1 face value, but this one has a limited mintage of 500,000 coins, a little bit less, but it's the 30th anniversary of the coin's premiere at the Perth Mint. So it's got, on this is very similar to the very first obverse on 1990, since they change it every year. And then over here we have a different design, the Australian Krugerrand, but it's got a lot of anniversary kind of marks on it, and it's expected to sell quite well. And it's kind of neat to see commemorative bullion. It'll be cool, since I'm a fan of the American Silver Eagle, it'll be really cool to see what type of design changes they have coming for it. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out, something that the Australian Mint, in my opinion, is doing quite well. After that, we've got the Australian Koala from 2020. So again, another Elizabeth II side of the coin, but in terms of the actual koala, again, it's got that great frosted finish and a neat reverse proof design, super reflective and mirror-like Perth Mint, and these also come from a limited mintage of 300,000, so they're somewhat scarce. And one thing to note, outside of the kangaroo, all of these coins come in individual airtight cases from the Perth Mint, so that's kind of some feature that they have that's a little bit of a step up. It's not at an extra cost. It's just something that the Australian Mint decides to do. We've got 3 more left. Super excited to talk about them. And right here we have the 2020 Great Britain Britannia coin. So this is the annual release from the Royal Mint out of Great Britain, and boy is it a good looking coin. There's extreme detail to minting quality. If you look at the surfaces, as I'm kind of reflecting it here, it's not a radial pattern, but it's something that is really difficult to replicate and produces a really good looking effect on the coin. And then you have that reverse proof strike kind of as well. This has £2 in terms of the face value, and the British pound used to be a little bit stronger, but it's still pretty strong, so that's significantly more than the American coin. And what this is there was a long tradition of the gold Britannias, but they started in 1997, and it shows Britannia, the goddess personification of Britain, striding forward or standing in a strong gale to show Britain's strength in the face of adversity. So I think that that's really cool, and it's a coin. If you look, I do world coin videos where I'm unboxing British stuff. This has been on the coinage for a really long time, and it's so neat how they incorporated it in the back of that great design on a big silver coin like this. So I'm a big fan of that design. Second to last, but not second to least necessarily, depends on your personal preference, is the silver Krugerrand. This is a long-awaited coin. They started in 2017 after a really long time having big successes with their gold Krugerrand coins, and it's a really nice looking coin. The first thing is that it has Paul Kruger on the obverse. He was a major political and historical figure in South Africa's history, and on the back they've got the springbok antelope, which is I want to say that it's the national animal of South Africa. That could be wildly wrong. The main difference that it has from the gold outside of the content is that it has a 1 rand face value, but unfortunately that's about 6 cents, so that's probably the worst face value of any silver 1-ounce bullion coin that actually has one, though I haven't checked some of the kind of minor 4th tier bullion coins to see what their exchange rates are, but regardless, this is a really neat coin, and it's so cool to see the silver version of a mainstay in the gold market. Though the Krugerrand, I do have to say, has kind of fallen out of favor relative to some of the other gold products recently on the market. Last up is the one in the middle. And this one is called the Austrian Philharmonic, and it's a really intricate, detailed design starting in 2008 and has emerged as a well-known European silver coin, kind of a neat denomination, 1.5 euros, which is generally worth a little bit more than the dollar, so I want to say it's like $1.7. I guess in that sense it has a little bit of a leg up on the American silver eagle, but it's super shiny, and one cool thing, I want to draw attention to the edge. It's totally smooth, so that's very uncommon, but that is something that differentiates it. I think that's a cool idea by the Austrians to have something a little bit different with their silver. On the front of the coin, this is the, I want to say this is the Great Music Hall. It's the Great Organ in the Golden Hall in Vienna, in Austria. And then the reverse, it just has a bunch of the wind instruments and, wind and string instruments, excuse me. There's also a horn in there, though, that kind of confused me, threw me off a little bit. Commonly, that would be found in an orchestra. So, yeah, there we go. Those are the main coins. I'm going to talk about a few of the minor tier bullion coins that can also be found on SD Bullion's online site, but these are the 9 main ones. And again, I can't say that I'd seen all of these in person, so to finally come face to face with them, really, really awesome. And they can all be bought online in the SD Bullion stores. But at the same time, you don't have to buy every single one of these. I probably find a few designs that you really like and stick to those. Though there is something to be said about, picking up, if over time you do, a roll of each one of these. I'm going to kind of wrap up the video and talk about a few, maybe 3 or 4 other designs that are circulating out there, and then we'll call it a day. So yeah, I'm super excited that I had the chance to share those 9 coins with you. Those are really the bulk of what's considered as the main silver bullion. There's also 4 coins that you can buy on SD Bullion's site that are also world bullion. Definitely You're not going to avoid mentioning them. So there's the Chinese Silver Panda. Those have a few problems with counterfeits in China. Obviously, if you buy it from a site like SD Bullion, I know I talked to them, they get all of their products directly from the mint. So it's not like there's risk there, but that's a problem that people in China have had with these coins, buying from third-party, non-official distributors. There's also the New Zealand coins, which I think are produced in the United States at the Sunshine Mint. And then there's also Mexican Libertads, which are the gold Mexican Libertad is pretty well known. The Mexican Silver Libertad has been actually around longer than the American Silver Eagle, but it's just not, for whatever reason, as purchased as a form of silver bullion. They were recently thinking if they should attach a pretty high face value to it. Currently it has none. And then there's also the Somalian elephant coin, 100 Somalian shillings. That's an interesting coin. I don't know too much about that one, but I saw it and I figured I'd mention it. But anyways, those are the government issued sovereign bullion rounds. I really like those. That's how I personally like to keep my silver, a mix of that and constitutional. But anyways, hope that you enjoyed getting a full picture of what people are talking about when they talk about these main bullion rounds. Those are the big ones, and I'm super happy to be able to share it with you. See you on some of my other videos. I'm going to be doing some more silver stacking and silver investing content coming up. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe even check out the merchandise below. I'd also, if you want to get in touch with me, go to my website, treasuretown.yt.com, my Instagram, treasuretown.yt, my Facebook, treasuretown, my Twitter, treasuretown.yt. All of those links are going to be in the description. And with that, I'll see you on my future videos.